Anyway, let's talk about this Wednesday night program that the bloom is off the rose now a bit because of, again, it was schizophrenic. And I honestly, they're in the LA Forum. They got 15,000 people there. It's their West Coast debut. The first, again, what was it, hour, not even of the show, brilliant. And then they just said, f it. We've done all we can do now. Let's just not even give a shit by the end of the program. But this followed up Double or Nothing. That was on Sunday. This is Wednesday night, June the 1st. And the first thing you see to keep the lead-in audience, like Mussolini, the new world champion. He even pulled out a ramp dive because it was Los Angeles. Right off the ramp, into the crowd.
That may have been where he hurt his leg.
No, he didn't hurt his foot there. They caught him.
Did he hit the barricade with it?
I sincerely do not think that he jumped off the ramp, hit the barricade, and then hid his severe limp for the rest of this match. But that's what you got, the Punk chants. You got a big crowd in a major building in a major city. You're playing real music, living color. And then you segue to the FTR music, and they get a pop from those people, and they come out looking like athletes, and it makes them seem like they're on Punk's level because it's rolling. And Jim Ross says, if I had an old school wrestling territory, those three would always have work because everybody that knows what wrestling is respects these guys. And then you've got the music, and here comes Max Caster and the Gunn Club. And there's not a lot of name value there, star power, but they look good. They look like athletes. Caster did a great rap. You're going to pay like Amber Heard or whatever the fuck.
He's tremendous. He's really good.
I don't know about Bowens being in the wheelchair, being pushed by Billy Gunn. That's an element of silliness.
Well, he is hurt.
Well, yeah, but anyway. But they have a six-man tag, Punk and FTR, that was going to be the start of probably a lot more of this because Punk obviously wants to align himself with Dax and Cash, who he can see, everybody can see, are the two best in-ring workers in the company, maybe in all of the business at this point. And I've mentioned Caster's a little green with his physical abilities, but he's got the great rap. But the Guns, Austin and Colt, they get it. They're already really good. They're going to be great. I see Kurt Hennig-like potential in Austin Gunn, maybe both of them.
Kurt Hennig? Really?
I'm telling you. Think about, did you remember what Kurt Hennig looked like in, what was it, 1982 when he was a rookie, when he was about as big around as maybe fucking Darby Allin is now, and he had the curly hair and the nice grin, and you could tell that he could sense how to move around in the ring. And he worked hard, but he was still a little green. Austin Gunn, I see them both really. They have the potential. They work their asses off, but they're understanding what this is about. It's not about acting like a silly goose and letting everybody laugh along with you as a heel. You may be acting a little silly, but you feel like you mean it. And the people hoot at you for it. And the smoothness already, I don't know how long they've been working. Probably trained with their dad quite a bit. They haven't worked in front of a ton of people last 2 years with the pandemic. I see the capability. They get this. Colton, if you're listening, when some guy ducks your clothesline, watch the up and over. You couldn't have hit Andre. If he don't duck, knock him the fuck out instead of you looking stupid. But I love this team. In 2-3 years, I want to see the Gun Boys. I think they're going to be fantastic.
I don't disagree with you, but, Kurt Hennig is a elite wrestler. That's why it stuck out a little bit. I haven't seen that yet,
yes.
But you're better at evaluating talent, obviously.
Well, I'm not saying in 3 months he's going to be the same as Kurt was after he'd been in business 10 years. I'm saying I see that naturalness, the taking to it. He feels it. He can move around. He's animated. And this match, they had a babyface team and a heel team. All the work was solid. They had star power involved. This is a wrestling show. like I said, they're in a big building, great music, and fans are hot, and they're taking to this, and the stars look good, and it looks like, and it sounds like a wrestling match. I mentioned the sound of the real ring that they use rather than Kevin Dunn's monkey shines in the in the marshmallow pit of the WWE. It was nice of the baby faces. FTR do the old Midnight Express power slam off the turnbuckle on Caster. When they were doing their research, they brought that. Nobody does that anymore. That'd be a good one to bring back. The heels cheated in the heat. Amazingly enough, you could actually tell who the heels were. Why is Jim Ross's microphone so much lower than the other announcers? Do you notice that?
In terms of the volume?
In terms of the volume. I can hear the other announcers more plainly and clearly and loudly, and JR's turned down and in the mix.
Well, I also don't think he speaks as loudly as they do.
Well, that's another reason now to turn him up. Again, I love the Guns. Oh, that they did a flapjack, too. On the flapjack. Boys, you got to square up side by side better. Don't get too fancy. I can't remember who was on the right-hand side, but the guy on the right-hand side grabbed the fucking babyface's leg with his left arm and just threw his right arm out in the fucking air like he's a ballet dancer. Grab the guy's leg with both hands. Give him some support. You got to be side by side because the guy that's going up wants to be able to boost himself and post off of both of your shoulders in the middle with both hands. I think Dax took it. And Dax probably tell you the same thing if he didn't already when you came back to the locker room. You got to square up side by side and take the bump backwards at the same time. Work on going back together because it's dodgy when one guy is taking the bump backwards, the other's still standing up. Dax started going sideways. And if it had been a more pronounced difference, he could have gone straight down sideways on his shoulder. So just square up side by side a little better, give the guy some support, and work on taking the bump together. But what do I know? I just invented it. So they go to the break. They come back. They got the heat going on Dax. They give a hot tag to Punk, and this is where I think it happened. Punk went for the springboard off the top rope to come in and make his comeback, and one foot slipped off the top rope, and he went down in the ring hard. He landed on his feet, didn't go down, but started a punching comeback. But if that was a place that I was looking for one of his left foot to take some abuse, that would have been my pick, because he came down on it awful hard. So save that. And then here's one thing. I think it was Colton. I'm pretty sure it was Colton. Like I said, the Guns are green. Punk is making his comeback. He wants to throw a drop kick. And if you go back and watch the tape, Colton's coming toward him, so he gives Colton the double hand in the chest, like, stop right there. And he goes for the drop kick, but Colton misinterpreted stop right there as a double hand shove, and he started taking the bump and fell before the drop kick. So poor Punk. This was not his shining moment. I don't think anybody's going to get too far on his ass because he got hurt for it. But then they brought FTR in to come back, and then Punk went to the top and did the right to the hard camera, I'm sorry, and did the big elbow off the top, and that looked good. Called for the GTS. Billy got up. Punk got Austin and powerbombed him into Billy, and then hit the go to sleep, and Austin staggered into FTR's big rig finish, 1, 2, 3. And again, a wrestling match on a wrestling show. So refreshing. Heels and baby faces. Right people won. Everybody was serious, and, you couldn't really have started much better than that. And then Punk stayed in the ring for the promo and did say, I know I got to get better. And that's the one thing about it. He's not going to do a Jericho and just go out there and act like that his diarrhea doesn't smell. If he fucks up, he'll tell the people in such a way that he's aware that he fucked up, and he's trying, and you can't really argue with that. And then Dax did a promo and recognized his wife and daughter in the crowd and said some other stuff about some stuff that I have probably missed because I didn't understand what he was saying. I'll let you chime in a second. But then Punk plugged the forbidden door and wanted to know who he's got, and out comes Tanahashi. And everybody in the building knew who he was. I know, again, they are appealing to the audience that knows who the New Japan guys are with a Forbidden Door pay-per-view. So we understand that nobody in the United States knows who this fucking guy is, and people watching TBS or TNT are going, what the fuck, unless they're fans. But how do all 15,000 people in the Forum in Los Angeles know who Tanahashi is when New Japan Pro Wrestling is on television in the United States and doesn't do 100,000 viewers in the whole country? They know, but they just don't watch? How do we reconcile what's going on there, Brian?
I don't know. And clearly the people who attend an AEW event, by and large, are the people who would identify a wrestler right away based on music or image. If they wrestled in Japan or on the indies, that's the audience that recognizes them. The people at home probably need to have it explained to them who this man with, as Howard Baum once put it, Joy Behar's hair. Who is this man?
And the announcers did, say who it was and etc. But that brings up, he got a big pop in Los Angeles. There's 15,000 people in the building. But their television program is on nationwide cable on Access and doesn't get 100,000 people in the whole country. So why are those people not watching?
Is it still on Access?
I'm pretty sure it didn't. They took it off when Anthem bought Access to save the zombie promotion, right? But now they put it back on.
I don't know.
Well, there you go.
And
anyway,
what does that tell you? We don't even know if New Japan's on TV here.
Well, I know it is. I just don't watch it. So at least I'm a little bit more informed than you are, because you haven't had your coffee yet. Well, you had your brief coffee.
Brev, I'm drinking it now. I'm on the second one now.
Well, brevity is the soul of wit. Speaking of wits.
Hey, can I say one thing?
Your wits. Yes, please do.
It's an interesting moment at the end of the match when you have Punk standing there holding the belt up and you have FTR next to him holding their belts up. And I was watching that thinking, man, this is pretty cool. Here are the world champion and tag team champions. And it took me a second to remember they're not the tag team champions. They're the Ring of Honor tag team champions.
Yeah, they're the Ring of Honor tag team champions. They're just a better tag team than the AEW World Tag Team Champions, who are fifth best team in the company.
And this may be something to pay attention to going forward, the different camps and what's happening, because obviously we've always talked about the fact that the Bucks and their people are always doing their own thing. And finally, we have main eventers doing something else. But I just read the other day in The Observer that the Bucks saved Colt Cabana's job. And I think that was a very, very interesting thing there. Because like many people, when CM Punk got there, my first thought was, oh, Colt Cabana's gone. He screwed over CM Punk. CM Punk's not going to forget that. The Bucks saved his job. So I think that's a story to keep an eye on for the future. The two different camps, at least those two different camps, and if they ever interact at all.
But what did Punk say before he even came back to AEW, when he was talking about the WWE? He said, I don't want to be another guy doing bad television.
That's right. So
he's had zero interaction on AEW television with the Hardley Boys, the Cucamonga Kids, their whole social circle, the Brandon Cutlet, and at least they got rid of the fucking baby oil idiot. Knock it to fuck off. We haven't seen him in a while.
You know why? He's Omega's assistant, and Omega's not there. Remember we did that story a while back? He was actually Omega's assistant?
That's right. He needs an assistant. He can't fuck up well enough on his own. He needs an assistant fuck up. But anyway, Punk has had no interaction with them because they do bad television and clowny, cartoon, outlaw, indie wrestling. So Punk has now aligned himself with, as we mentioned, the best tag team in the company and two of the best in-ring performers. I'm sure he wants to work with some more of them. He already mentioned Bryan Danielson. He wants to do good television, not bad television. The other guys don't care if the television they're on is bad as long as they're on it.
And he's been doing good television. I think CM Punk's having a legendary year. I hate to bring Bret Hart into the conversation, but my favorite year any single wrestler ever had is probably Bret Hart from Survivor Series 96 to Survivor Series 97. Punk, other than the Page match is probably my least favorite Punk match in AEW so far. Other than that, his matches have been good. They've been telling a story. His promos are excellent. Everything he's been doing on this show has been a home run. That's one of the main reasons I don't want him to go away. And I understand everything you said is right about why you would want him to go away. But he's got such a high batting average right now and everything. That's why I think on commentary, because he's the best commentator they have there, and he's not even being used that way. I don't know. I hate to have him off the show. He's one of the few wrestlers I have faith in right now.
To paraphrase what I told Joe Koff one time, he can pop the corn too, Tony, but let's prioritize.